there's a subject that has been brewing the last couple of days before the start of the weekend.
$700 million.
It's about a $700 million loan that is being reported to have been contracted by the GNPC. And Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, your good friend, and I know that you appear on many programs together, Kofi, he asked for Parliament to probe why GNPC could go outside Parliament to contract a public loan. And the story as it continues on page 3 of the Daily Guide says, during the consideration of the business, he said it's a very serious issue and Parliament has to assert its authority to ensure that such aberrations do not occur. Which are aberrations? That the GNPC can go out and contract loans? I have to start with it.
Roland, if my memory is very right, which I believe is right, I overheard both His Excellency the President and the Finance Minister, Honorable Setepe, made and gave very strong indications that there are some institutions of state that will have to be weaned off state support and state.
So before they do that, they have to flout the rules. Or
no, I'm coming. I've not even landed whether they flouted the rules or not. In terms of that you go and borrow, and then you put those monies that you borrow for them on the tables of the state, increasing the debt portfolio of the state. When such institutions can on their own really go for such monies and pay the money on their own. So that is also a government program that some institutions like the Foods and Drugs Board, GNPC, VRA and the rest should be win off. So there's a gradual process. Does this facility fall within that atmosphere? My thinking is that yes. Do they have the capacity to be able to borrow? Yes. Have they flouted any law? I do not know on that, because so far nobody has quoted any law to tell me that this is the law that GNPC has flouted. The argument has been that because GNPC is a state-owned, if they have to do any borrowing, they should bring it before Parliament. That is a view that is being expressed. That view has not been subjected to any detailed debate and legal interpretation. And I will not take it away from those who are pushing that position, that per their understanding, GNPC should bring their books or any loan facility they want to go for before Parliament for parliamentary approval. Others also feel that the board is enough and that they can borrow. Once each board approve of it, they can go ahead and do so. These are like the first issue we discussed, open for what? Interpretation. But what is for me key is how that money will be used. For me, that is what is key. That if we are assured that the money they are going for is going to help us even gain more and GNPC to move to higher heights, why not? We worry too much on some processes that sometimes I may say that not very, very necessary. That may not be illegal, but we were just talking about a possible procedure or legality that we're not sometimes so clear about. So far, Roland, nobody has really come to tell me that this is the law that GNPC has broken by taking this action, other than people saying that, oh, it's a public, it's a state, so they should have brought it before Parliament. And that is why I went back to give indication about the position of government. That government decision is that we are winning off some of these institutions. Let them go, and their loans will be on their books. Their loan will be on their books for them to be able to pay back. Have we reached that stage? Have we done the appropriate? Are there any laws to be amended to allow that to happen? Has that happened? If it has not, how can we talk about this situation? Those are the questions I believe that answers should be coming, or people who are speaking against or for this facility must provide us.
Philip.
I am dead against it.
You're against the GNPC
going for this loan
as
this
a public
way.
operation.
Yes, and also
With,
the
with,
points
with,
that
with serious viability
let me
prospects.
let me just throw this in back slightly. When in this Burkina Faso situation, some members of parliament were asked that why they were in their hiding place and they were being interviewed. That why is it that you went to approve this? He said, oh, but we have extended it before. So if we go to parliament and we extend it again, what was wrong with that? That was the argument. Blaise Compaoré's term ended. He was not supposed to extend it. He extended it. Parliament gave the approval for him to extend.
You mean he was doing something that was legal but not right?
And his term ends in 2015. The last extension he got was to end in 2015. And he had gone to seek another extension for another term.
Now he was seeking to amend, not to give a limit of tenure. You can go as many times.
No, but the poor point was that Parliament had granted it before. So if Parliament can grant it again, then if he asks Parliament and Parliament is prepared to grant it again, what's wrong with that? GNPC, my brother, how much debt hasn't the government of Ghana had to pay on behalf of GNPC?
Because I remember in the early part of the 2000s.
So with that experience behind us,
even
how can we even do this? And apart from that, my brother, $700 million is not a small amount of money. 700 million. The money, as to what even the money is going to be used for, has not been made so clear. They say infrastructure.
Infrastructure.
Oh, infrastructure is, look, there's APEC meeting going on, Asian Pacific Economic Cooperation. They are planning high-speed railway lines to link the faraway points in
How much
Asia.
is that costing?
About 3-point-something billion.
The one between Turkey and Japan? Or which
Oh,
one?
there are 3 lines. The whole thing comes to about 27 billion. But this is what they want to do. You see? And that is very clear. This is what we want to do. This is the plan. We are talking about infrastructure. Oh, the government will need to do infrastructure development.
Do you think that GNPC will go and secure a loan just based on a wording in the contract that says infrastructure, and then $700 million will be granted to any entity at all, whether it's GNPC or not?
Look, first of all, I'm not too clear.
Does it make plausible reasoning?
First of all, I'm not too clear where exactly the $700 million is coming from. If you go to a finance house and you tell them, we're coming to do infrastructure, and these are the things we're coming to do, you satisfy that finance house that this is what we need the money for, they might give it to you. But if you send those same reasons to the House of Parliament, the House of Parliament may have an entirely different view because they know other things that are going on. That particular finance house will not know. And that is why these things have to go to Parliament. Parliament is the house what is handling all the other loans that this country is contracting. How, even when we are contracting loans, we have difficulty in implementing some of the money that we collect. Then you go and collect 700 million, and you tell me that GNPC is a corporate body in itself, it has its own board, so you can go and borrow. At the end of the day, when there's a liability, look at this issue of this second tier. The workers say want to run our own money. You say no. The liability to the government, for that reason, we're not going to allow you.
But those are good reasons.
No, but I'm just saying something. I'm just making a point. That you see, that's what I'm saying, as politicians, we have to be very careful. Otherwise, the backlash will be on all of us.
Unfortunately, GNPC is not a political institution.
No, it is a
So your argument about
it is not a political
doesn't...
institution, but this has become a political issue.
Why?
Because the opposition is against it and the government is defending it.
So because the opposition is against it, so it is wrong.
It begins to assume political dimension.
Okay.
Because if something is wrong, it's wrong. Let us not justify it because we are the ones in power and we are the ones.
Why do you think that the opposition in parliament seem to be against this very law?
No, because
but not necessarily against it, but
the whole process is wrong. We have the experience of GNPC itself alone has done these same things before and have run into problems. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? $700 million.
Recalling the actions that even the Kufuor administration had to take in the early part of the 2000s, where even some personalities were taken to court. I mean, I don't want to go into what the merits and demerits were or not, but investment had been made, and the investment did not yield good returns, according to what the information that we have or have had the last decade and a half has been. The then government and the people who are representing the masses should be very much interested in how an entity like this tends to secure a certain facility and to invest in what and how profitable would that be. These should be legitimate.
And those details have to come into parliament.
Searching for oil is a huge investment.
And it's a governmental issue. It's a national issue.
That is a national
That is why
issue.
the legislature should be interested.
That should not be left just for one entity. In the past, there was not much interest by the big oil companies in prospecting in our areas because they were prospecting in other areas. So they didn't show a lot of interest in Ghana.
But why didn't they show interest in Ghana?
GNPC continued to do this fight and this search all alone. So they needed to do such investment. But commercially, we had not been able to find. But the information was there that within this area, there is every indication that when we drill deeper, we will find oil. Now we know that it is there, the investment is okay. GNPC says that I will not sit down, I will not sit back and allow only private entities to bring in all monies to come and do only for me to get royalties. I would also want to take part, and a serious part, in investing. And prospecting for oil is not a $1 million thing. It's $1 billion project. So 700 million is, in terms of oil search and the rest, should not be seen the way my colleague is. Yes, it's big money. But in the area of oil industry, we are talking about billions that is put in there. So that is the point from which we must look. GNPC want to participate actively. They want to get higher percentages than they are getting now. I am not taking it away from anybody who wants to argue that, oh, can Parliament at least have a look at? I'm not taking it away from them. But we must not make it look like they have committed any wrong, that they are going to spend the money in a frivolous way. People are even questioning, we don't even know the bank that is giving. Look, no bank. Yeah, no bank. I was coming to that. No bank will give you 700 million when they are not sure of what you want to do and that the capacity to be able to pay back. No bank will want to give that money away to you just because you want to.
But so far as we've had precedents in this country, where that same institution had gone to contract or undertake projects that had not yielded positive results.
You all accept that the telecommunication investment that GNPC went into yielded positive results ultimately, finally. By the time we sold Westel, we made a lot of money, we made a lot of profit out of it. So it cannot be said that that was a bad investment. People were talking about investment in salt. Today, petrochemical industry don't go without salt. The two go hand in hand. So if somebody was thinking ahead that, look, let me invest in this and prepare myself for such an industry, I didn't think that it was wrong. You may be talking about timing, most possibly, because we did not find it at the time they thought they were going to find it. So possibly that salt investment did not come to do what it was expected to do to make the petrochemical industry a complete industry. You can raise concerns about it, but it doesn't mean that because of that, today you will not do any other investment. Look, if Ghana's drill ship was not sold for some of the debts that maybe they thought that GNPC had, then we had negotiated and still had a drill ship available and added it as part of the resources in the find of oil, our percentage would have been higher than we got because our drill ship would have been participating in the process. That drill ship that we're talking about was sold to a company that is in a country that have been prospecting for oil many years before even we started, Norway, and it's still functioning today. In deep sea, not shallow water, so deep sea drill ship. So it is not a drill ship that was in a bad state that could not have functioned because it's still functioning today. I kind of agree that, oh, you want to look at the past and then ask questions. But let us not, because of the past, decide that we don't want to move. It's like you have an accident, so you think that because you had an accident with a car, you don't want to sit in a car to even the hospital, or you don't want, every time you will be walking. You may be walking and a car will come and knock you even.
You know, there's arguments and points that have been raised just now are the same arguments and points that were raised when GNPC went into all the problems that landed us in the difficulties that we found ourselves. I don't want to go back into the GNPC issue, but just to talk about the drill ship, for example. At the time the drill ship was sold, the condition in which it was sold, today the drill ship is working. Do you know how much money has gone into that dealership to get it to be working where it is working now? You know, there are certain things that might appear fine on paper, and I don't disagree with the principles he has said. There's one thing about the principle, and there's another thing being able to implement your capacity, etc. The challenges. Can Ghana, if we are going to borrow 700 million, shouldn't we take our time and scrutinize such a transaction? We have to start. Where else can we scrutinize? Parliament. Because at the end of the day, if something goes wrong, no matter what board GNPC had, no matter who the chief executive is, it is the government and people of Ghana that have to start take care of the problem. So you have to bring it to Parliament, and that is the issue. Nobody is saying we shouldn't go and prospect for oil. Nobody is saying we shouldn't try and develop our capacity. But we are saying that when you are going into such liabilities, the Constitution provides that you should send it to Parliament for us to scrutinize it well and satisfy ourselves as a people that yes, we are collectively taking up this liability because this is what we expect to get out of it. If it doesn't go well, then we all know. But you can't tell me that because you think or you have figured out that this is the best thing to do, you are going to contract this loan on our behalf. Because whether you like it or not, GNPC could be GNPC, but this loan is being contracted on our behalf. And our laws say such loans must go to Parliament to be vetted. So the arguments might sound fine, but at the end of the day...
I've heard some underground arguments before that they feel this money could be diverted into some other things.
Where else can you prove everything wrong? Take it to Parliament. Put all the documentation before the House. Both sides. Everybody sees it. Some of the people who are defending this action, for example, they don't know all the details. We know of all the good plans. How exactly is this 700 million going to be employed? Where are we getting the equipment from? What are the other infrastructure they're talking about? It is all quite vague. It might be good enough to satisfy the institution that is lending the money, but is the information provided to them enough to satisfy us as a country? Is it going to be enough to satisfy our legislators? That is the issue. You should bring if you have nothing to hide, put the issue on board and let us all debate.
Kofi Adams, in the interest of the Republic, so whatever transactions that will be undertaken on behalf of any entity under the state should be in the interest of the public.
Of course, it should be in the interest of the public. But I don't think that this point where we have reached, we should still be living in that situation where we want every institution to be delayed in its working if it has proven enough capacity to be able to do things the right way. And I believe that GNPC has come of age. It deserves support. We should stop this. I don't want to use the word because it is not me. It is wrong kind of situation. I'm not saying that that's what Philip is doing, but some out there are making it look more like, oh, because it is not us, we must run in that. You hear some of them saying, oh, even if the money comes, government can go and get it here to do development projects. So because of that, it should not come. So if government can actually get some part of that money to do development projects, you should be happy for that.
That's it.
That if an entity can borrow and then be able to support.
Is that what it is? Or
I'm only taking as position. I'm only taking from their argument that they are fear that if GNPC brings in that money, government may get some of it to do other development programs. Meaning that for them, government should not be able to do development programs, and that will help them politically. I think that we should not be speaking from that point of view. Philip, I'm not saying you are. I
agree.
But I'm saying that there are some out there, especially in your party, who, when they speak, it tends to suggest this way. And it is very dangerous. If you listen to even the recent comments that Gabi took on the MPs for whatever it is that they are supposed to be doing, and the responses that they also brought up that, look, we have been planning the workers' issues,
that's not the discussion. What you're raising is not
and the rest, where, when we were talking, he raised the second-tier pension thing. So I'm only also bringing a matter to be able to make a point. If you listen to the kind of arguments that they advance, it's more like, so you have been behind all these agitations. So some of them are not really helping their party by the way manner.
That was a legitimate point. Okay, so please conclude.
My point is that we are going for a loan, and when monies are being borrowed, we shouldn't borrow money with the expectation of it. And the government can, even if the government uses some to, please,
No,
when you borrow money,
not thinking that way. I'm only talking about what some of your people are saying.
I agree, Kofi, that this is what you say some of our people are saying. But he said that even if government was to even use, even if that was the case, was that wrong? And I'm saying that we should have a situation where when you go for a loan and you bring it, there is no doubt in anybody's mind, whether it's the person who went for the loan, the opposition man, or whoever, as to what the money is going to be used for.
Clean money.
Clean, no problem.
Thanks very much. And my guest for the morning, Philip Langdon, is a member of the MPP, is a development planner as well. And thanks for joining me, sir.
Thank you.
And Kofi Adams is a Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, currently consulting delegates of the party to get him into office as a national organizer. In the meantime, though, he has to contest the incumbent, Yao Boating-Jan. Thanks for joining me.
Kofi, I wish you well.
Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're taking a break. When we come back, we're talking creation of jobs, creation of wealth, and how we can expand our reach as a people. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.